Hey yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Ace. This is Fantasized Football. We are back once again, bringing y'all some more fantasy football content for the 2021 fantasy football season. And it's Monday, so we are here to bring y'all some more individual player analysis yet again, like we always do on Mondays. But real quick, did want to mention, I might sound a little bit nasally, man. My allergies been beating the shit out of me, so bear with me. But also, big, massive, huge, humongous shout out to each and every one of y'all for helping me surpass yet another goal. Thank you guys so much for the continued love and support on a weekly basis. It really, honest to God, means the world to me. When I started this channel, when we started this shit, the original goal was to hit 100 subscribers on YouTube by the fantasy football season. We blew that shit right out of the water like it was nothing. And then literally 1 month later, actually right after that happened, we made the goal 200 subscribers by the end of the fantasy football season. I mean, fuck it, double it, right? And we once again blew that shit right out of the water. And that's thanks to each and every one of you coming by on a weekly basis, showing your boy some love and support. If you notice, we do have, we do have some more decor back here. We got the championship dog, the two-time fantasy football champ. We had to put that in there to go right there with the A-Rob jersey. But also, if you are new, I'm sorry, I got a little off track there. I'm all over the place today, right? If you are new, thank you so much for coming by, giving your boy a little bit of your time. I do appreciate it so very much, and I hope that you do enjoy this video. If you do at any point, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel to help us, me, you, the community, my boy back here, help us reach our new goal of 300 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I would really appreciate it. But yes, let's talk about what we're here to talk about, and more specifically, who we're here to talk about, right? That's why you clicked on this video. Today, we are talking about Ceedee Lamb, CD, DVD Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys and his potential outcomes for the 2021 fantasy football season. Amari Cooper earlier this week got put onto the PUP, and that means that he may miss some time. He could be good to go, but if not, I think there is elite upside there. But before we get into that, it is worth mentioning as well, just yesterday, I'm recording this on Thursday. This video will come out on Monday. It was reported that Dak Prescott did suffer a slight shoulder strain, but all signs point to this being nothing to worry about. He should be back in a matter of weeks, if not less than that, and it should not interfere with him in week 1. So we are not worried about that. All these things do stand true. Take it with a grain of salt if any other reports come out. But as of right now, I am not worried about this whatsoever. So let's get into it. The main event, the meat and potatoes, why we're here, some potential outcomes for Ceedee Lamb in 2021. Now, Ceedee Lamb had a very productive rookie season. If Dak had been healthy the whole season, he could have competed with Justin Jefferson. I think at least. I think it is within the range of outcomes that he could have if Dak was healthy the entirety of the season. But he did have a great season nonetheless, but it was overshadowed a bit by Justin Jefferson's historic rookie season. But if we look at what Ceedee Lamb did in his rookie season, he had 111 targets, 74 catches, 935 yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. He also added 10 carries for 82 yards and a rushing touchdown, a 66.7% catch rate at 8.4 yards per target. But if you look at what he did when Dak was healthy in weeks 1 through 4, he had 29 targets, 21 catches, 309 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. If you pace that out to 17 games, that is 123 targets, 89 catches, 1,313 yards, and 9 touchdowns receiving. Very elite upside there for Ceedee Lamb. And you have to keep in mind, this was without any real offseason. His first 4 NFL games, he was able to put up these figures, a 72.4% catch rate at 10.7 yards per target. Keep all those numbers in mind because they will come back later. We're going to put them behind us in the back of our mind for now because we have other things to talk about. But I digress. Like I mentioned a little bit before, we discussed it briefly before. Sorry, this shirt keeps... This here Yeet John keeps getting cut up on my shoulder, bro. But I digress, right? We talked about this really briefly before, but Amari Cooper has been put on the PUP. Now, he could be good to go to start the season, right? He could be 100% ready to go. But if not, there is elite upside here for Ceedee Lamb. And even if Amari Cooper is healthy and he can take over as the 1A and Cooper is the 1B, then obviously in an offense that should be a lot more efficient this year, a pass-happy offense, there is a whole lot of upside. Also, Dak is back, of course, and he should be good to go. And when you look at weeks 1 through 4 last season, the Cowboys threw the ball over 50 fucking times a game. Now, I don't expect that to be the case. I expect some regression there, right? I mean, this should be a better offense. They should hopefully have at least a little bit better of a defense. The line should be better. So I don't expect them to throw the ball 50 times a game. I mean, that'd be over 800 times. That's definitely not going to happen. But I do still expect them to be a pass-heavy offense. Even in neutral game scripts, they'll probably be throwing the ball a little more with the personnel that they have. Also, we've heard reports that Ceedee Lamb this season is going to be moving all over the formation. He has been in mini camps, all that good shit. So he's not going to be just stuck in the slot. He's going to be running more different routes, which means more opportunity. And if he can take over, like I had mentioned, as the number one, as the alpha in this offense, then it's fucking wheels up for Ceedee Lamb in 2021. But without further ado, now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about some potential outcomes. Like always, we'll look at kind of a lower end idea of where he could be, maybe not the floor, but close to it, and then a higher end, again, maybe not the ceiling, but realistic outcomes for Ceedee Lamb in 2021. But we do have to, before that, talk about what I have the Cowboys projected for in 2021. I have them projected for 637 pass attempts and 481 rush attempts. If you look at weeks 1 through 4, once again, we're going back to this really small sample with Dak in weeks 1 through 4 in 2020. Amari Cooper and Ceedee Lamb handled nearly a 40% target share in the offense, and I expect that to even grow this season, probably be somewhere between there, like 40% and 45%, because like I mentioned before, Ceedee Lamb now has a full offseason, a full season under his belt, will be more comfortable, and I expect it to be not a complete target funnel, but these guys will handle the majority of the targets. They should be the clear 1A, 1B. So for our lower end, let's kind of assume that Amari Cooper is good to go to start the season, right? He's at 95%. He's ready to go. He plays week 1. And Ceedee Lamb handles a 20% target share, right, in this offense for the season. On 637 attempts, that is going to be 127 targets. And like we mentioned before, let's pull them back out. Let's get them, bam, bam. Put the stats back on the table that we talked about earlier. He had a 66.7% catch rate for the season last season. But with Dak, he was at a 72.4% catch rate. You take those figures and you even it out right in the middle. That is a 69% catch rate for Ceedee Lamb. So let's use that. On 127 targets, that is going to be an 88 catch pace, right? 127 targets, 70%, 69% catch rate, 88 catches. One of the areas that we saw the biggest drop off for Ceedee Lamb with and without Dak, I mean, it was relatively big drop off everywhere. Obviously, when you're going from one of the better passers in the league in Dak to like Andy Dalton, Ben DiNucci, whoever else, shit, they probably would have taken the young boy at quarterback if they could have got their hands on him, but I don't think they had the money to pay me with the cash situation. But anyways, if you look at the yards per target with and without Dak, he was at 7.1 yards per target. With Dak, he was at 10.7 yards per target, nearly 11 yards per target. So again, you take those two figures and you even it up, pop, right in the middle. That's going to be 8.9 yards per target. On 127 targets is going to be 1,130 yards. And then last but not least, we do have to talk about the touchdowns. Again, very unpredictable stat, not a sticky stat, so take this with a grain of salt. But with Dak, he had a 6.9% touchdown rate. 2 touchdowns on 29 targets. Very small sample size, but a 6.9% touchdown rate nonetheless. The rest of the season, he had 3 touchdowns on 82 targets, a 3.7% touchdown rate. Now, I do expect this to regress to the mean, right? So if you take those again, you even it out, it's a 5 0.3% touchdown rate. But let's play it safe and just use 5% even on 127 targets. That is going to be 6 receiving touchdowns going way of Ceedee Lamb. And like we talked about a little bit before, he did provide some rushing upside. 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Let's just assume he gives us 10 points in the rushing game. 40 yards and a touchdown, 100 yards rushing. However you want to look at it, he gives us 10 extra points for the sake of the argument here. If you slap all that shit together, that is 127 targets, 88 catches, 1,130 yards, and 6 touchdowns, plus the rushing. 203 half PPR points, 11.9 half PPR points per game, tied for the wide receiver 21 in half PPR fantasy points per game in 2020. Now, currently, with the news on Amari Cooper, Ceedee Lamb has shot up to the wide receiver 15 in half PPR ADP per Fantasy Pros, coming off the board 40th overall, so right in the start of the 4th round. Now, he's not going to kill you if you draft him as the wide receiver 15 and he finishes in the top 20, like right 19 to 21. He's not going to kill you. But if he's your wide receiver 1, it might hurt a little bit. Like if you go with 2 running backs and a tight end, or you just go super, super heavy on running back, it might hurt a little bit. But investing that wide receiver 15 draft capital into him, we also have to look at the higher end to see if it will be worth it. So let's assume that Amari Cooper stays on the pup and misses a couple of games, or he's not 100%. He's on limited snaps, right? And Ceedee Lamb comes out and he goes nuts the first couple of weeks and he takes over as the 1A or the true alpha in this offense, and he handles, I don't know, a 22% target share, right? On 637 targets, that's going to be 140 targets. And like we mentioned before, he had a 72.4% catch rate with Dak last season. Let's assume he's at 70%. We used 69% before. Just a slight increase to a 70% catch rate on those 140 targets is going to be 98 catches, right? Then we look at yards per target, right? Like we mentioned before, big drop off without Dak. But again, it was a small sample size. He was at 10.7 yards per target. Let's assume he could be 90% of that. I think that's achievable, don't you? Don't you? I do. So 90% of 10.7 yards per target is going to be 9.6 yards per target. On 140 targets is going to be 1,344 yards. And then the touchdowns. Again, I want to bing, 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 bing. Nail this shit into your head. It's not a very predictable stat. It's very hard, not a sticky stat whatsoever. So take this with a grain of salt. He had a 6.9% touchdown rate with Dak last season. Let's assume he could be 80% of that, right? I think that's fair. A 5.5% touchdown rate for Ceedee Lamb on 140 targets is going to be 8 touchdowns receiving. And then again, let's factor in the same extra 10 fantasy points in terms of rushing upside for Ceedee Lamb, just for the sake of these projections for these possible incomes. And you take all that shit and you can cook up a little Ceedee Lamb stew, right? You're looking at 140 targets, 98 catches, 1,344 yards, and 8 touchdowns receiving, and then the rushing upside on top, which would have been good for 241.4 half PPR points or 14.2 half PPR points per game in 2020, tied for the wide receiver 8 in half PPR fantasy points per game in 2020. So now it's time to ask the most important question. We ask it at least once a week, essentially since the inception of this fucking fantasy football empire that is fantasized football. What does all this shit mean for fantasy football in 2021? Well, I'll tell you. What it means to me is that if Amari Cooper were to miss time, or if Ceedee Lamb could just take over as the 1A, as the alpha in a pass-heavy offense with Dak Prescott healthy and ready to go, playing 17 games, there is elite upside there for him to finish top 10 at the position. So I think he is worth top 15 draft capital at the wide receiver position. Currently going 40th overall, started a 4th round. I think he is worth that. And if you're looking at a guy, if you're looking for a guy, right, where you start off running back heavy or 2 running backs and a tight end, and you need a wide receiver 1, I think Ceedee Lamb has the upside to finish top 5 at the position as well. That's what I think more of like his ceiling is, because if he gets those 140 targets or so. And he can be 95, 100 catches, 1,300, 1,400 yards, and he gets double-digit touchdowns. All of a sudden, we're looking at a top 5 wide receiver. I would assume at least, even in 17 games, 100 catches, 1,350 yards, 10, 11 touchdowns. That is big numbers for Mr. Ceedee Lamb. So I will be targeting Ceedee Lamb in fantasy football drafts in 2021, especially if Amari Cooper is good to go and his ADP drops back down into the mid-4th round, start of the 5th round, whatever it may be, all the more better for us as fantasy football managers. But that is my case. That's how I feel about Ceedee Lamb. I will be drafting Ceedee Lamb even at his current price because there is elite upside there. But that's it. That's all. That's all there is. Me, my boy, we are out for today. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think of Ceedee Lamb? Will you be drafting him this season? Will you not be drafting him this season? Do you think he's being drafted too early, too late? Any other videos you'd like to see, I would really, really appreciate the feedback, y'all. Help the channel grow, help the algorithm get boosted, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Help us hit our next goal of 300 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I would really, really appreciate it. Check out the description below for the links to my Twitter, my Instagram, the podcast. If you're listening to podcasts, hop on over to YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bells to get notified. Really, really appreciate it. But that is it. That is all. That's all there is. Like I said before, me, my boy, we are out. We will catch y'all next time. And as always, thank you, love you, peace.